These are the most what the moments of F1 history.
It's amazing.
I don't think so. Did you see all of them? I don't think so, but let's take a look. Let's begin with the 2013 Korean GP. There was a rumor at the time that Korea would be dropped from the schedule, but this mad moment, it may have made that more likely. Lap 37, and there's Adrian Sutt, and Mark Webber is right in front of him at turn 3. Adrian Sutt, from way behind. Webber's got a fire behind that Red Bull, so Till hits Webber at turn 3. In typical old Red Bull second driver trick, Webber's car suddenly bursts into flames, so he brings it off the circuit. All well, yeah? Well, no, because almost a lap after that, this happens. And what is not the safety car? What is the car doing? No one called the fire car out, and there it was, the hero we never wanted. Actually, safety car rolled out, 'cause race director Charlie Whiting noticed some unknown car roll onto the track. Comedy of the purest form, and for good measure. Just in case you are wondering, no, Korea did not get included on the 2014 calendar. Coincidence? I'll leave that up to you. Yet another odd thing, either deliberate or not, was seen in Abu Dhabi, 2017's free practice. In the middle of nowhere, an umbrella somehow found its way onto the track. An umbrella. What the? One extremely courageous marshal went to retrieve it, with the gratitude of a round of applause from the stands. There is a huge shadow in turn 11. If someone else. Sorry, could you tell me what was in 11? Huge shadow. If you want some shadow. If Magnus's engineer had a problem understanding what was going on, what about Montoya talking to his engineer in Austria in 2001 when a deer came onto the track? And we have had a deer on the tee. We believe it's about the circuit. So, just come in safely. Thank you. Oh dear. Yeah, I be fuck a horse with holes. I know. Oh dear. Brilliant. And that last jump. Magnificent. In 3 years of racing in F1, Monty had some of the greatest and most the moments of all time. Let's travel to Australia 2004 when they posed this question to him. The new Formula 1. Number 1. One wonders whether, if one had won just one Formula 1 in a year, whether one would have wanted to win that one in round 1. But one of them would be in round 1, and it just kept becoming weirder and weirder, right? Either this stops, or I go off. Yeah, the racing car dropped. How do you know? Must say the painter. Have you employed Ash? Can't play golf. I'm pressing. I'm asking, can you play? Until he actually came to apologize. Thanks. Like when a cameraman jammed the camera right into his brain. Idiot. You shattered my head. You shattered my... Then Kerr followed him later. If I were my toy, I would be going, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, why the fuck don't you subscribe too?
But if that was violent, wait and see what happened to Checo in Vegas in 2023. The cringe and awkwardness combination. Just look at it for yourself, because I just can't take watching it anymore.
Mexico, it's Sergio, check Paris. He literally shouted, what am I supposed to do? Now, want to see a driver more lost than Checo?
Apparently Fis Keller every time he rolled into Malaysia. Why do I say this? Let's go way back to 2001. During the formation lap, Heinz Harold Franken's engine misfired. It had absolutely nothing to do with Fisichella, but for some inexplicable reason, the Italian spaced out or something and ended up on the wrong side of the grid, stuck in between two cars. And from there, it just got progressively worse. They'll have to start all over again. A Benetton hopelessly out of rhythm there. Who is that down on the ground? It's Fisichella, isn't it? Start aborted. Yes. Aborted beginning and second formation lap with Fisichella off the rear. Extremely crazy, but would have been a funny moment if not for what happened in 2003 on the same track. And the automobiles at the front and oh dear look, is that Fisichella? He managed to do it a few years ago, do you remember? In the Benetton, he did exactly the same. I have never had anything like that happen in my life. Seriously, Fizzy again. At least, however, this time he managed to put it in the proper place. So the start went on as if nothing had happened, which quite frankly amazed me. The FIA today would surely initiate an inquiry, give it a penalty, and turn the whole fiasco prove me wrong. How absurd this is, that is not even the half of what the entity which has happened, not once, but twice. It was Taki Inoue, the man who has a record unbeatable. What am I talking about? Good old Inoue only managed a whole season in 1995 using arrows, and honestly, it seemed like it was going to be quite forgettable. Plenty of retirements and crashes, but all of that changed in Monaco, and Inoue stole all the headlines, just not for any good reasons. Like any other run-of-the-mill day at the office, Enoy left his car in the first free practice with technical issues. When this safety car came into view, it crashed into the crane, drove on top of it, and rammed straight into Enoy's head. No words, Enoy was knocked out. Thankfully, he survived to race on Sunday and went on to count up retirements, none of which knew he'd be back in the headlines a few races down the road. In Hungary, his engine blew up on lap 13. That is where Enoy jumped out of his car to retrieve a fire extinguisher. I'm sure you can imagine what happens next. And up there, just, oh goodness gracious me.
No, that's absolutely appalling. That marshal there, holy shit. Did the safety car driver have a penchant for running him over or something? Poor Enoy ended up getting hospitalized, but luckily, he came back in time for the next race. And while his F1 career was shortened by just 7 races later on, he's the only driver that got driven over by the safety car twice, making him an absolute F1 legend. After dominating F1, Enoy then became an internet legend, because if you can, you can. I'd take a guess that Enoy gained a spot in history, along with Hans Ha, a person you've never heard of, but his short and ridiculous F1 career is completely crazy. So here's what went down. Ha was a pretty good touring car driver in Germany in the 70s, and somehow, the ATS team approached him to compete in the German GP in 1977. The kicker, zero F1 experience, but team boss Günther Schmidt said, hey, he's popular. Perhaps he can attract some sponsors. So he pretty much threw him into the F1 fire with no prep or training. And as you might have guessed, this brilliant plan ended with Ha being far too slow to qualify. So technically, that should have been the end of his short-lived F1 career. Technically. On Sunday, he still wanted to show the fans what he's got, or what he didn't. So he just entered the team garage, leaped onto his car as if racing, just waiting for some miracle to happen. And guess what? That miracle actually happened. There was an issue with the traffic light at the start, so one of them had a brilliant idea to begin the race with the German flag waving. And that, my friend, just created total mayhem on the grid, with some of the drivers crashing into one another, and most as lost as hell. What did Ha do? He just drove onto the track and snuck his way into the race, and Ha was a total cool guy, 'cause even the marshals did not say anything, and the crowd started cheering for him. Fucking legend. At this point, nothing made any sense at all, but 9 laps later, his little adventure ended when his transmission went out. Then he was disqualified. So he is the only F1 driver in history to slip into a race and come away with a DNQ, DNS, DNF, and DSQ at the same time. Crazy, but true. What a story. But don't worry, I have some more that will totally blow your mind. And since we've been marooned talking about the back of the grid for an eternity, let's at least shake things up and talk about the front. Our next scene, Kate's, 1997. Imagine this, the season finale, and Shoemaker is a point ahead in the championship of Nerve. All or nothing. On Saturday, in the last few minutes, Nerve goes for it to post a provisional pole with 121.072, and he jumps into provisional pole position. Same time. Could it be? But there's more to it. Fren's lap looks good too. It is amazing. I don't believe this. Behind, Harold Frentzen has done the same time as Jack Wiener and Michael Schumacher, and is thus still in 3rd place. What the bloody fuck? I still can't believe that this actually happened. I have never seen the same qualifying times in F1, let alone for the pole, let alone for a championship decider, let alone 3 drivers doing it. Imagine that, as Frohn 0, off pole, without even being on the front row. If that qualifying session went into history books, because everybody had the exact times of the top 3. The Hungarian GP qualifying in 2009 went down for the exact opposite. Nobody knew what time anybody had done. While all drivers were doing their laps in Q3, the signal got lost by the FOM, and before anyone knew it, the times weren't being displayed on the broadcast or on the track screens. So by qualifying's finish, nobody, drivers and all, had any idea who was on pole position. It was there that Alono, the moment he stepped out of the car, decided to conduct his own little detective work to find out everyone's time. Standard 225, 215, 225. 215 was struck by something and went off, and has been treated. Crazy, right? Slowly but surely, they started piecing together. And as it is with the day's theme, just like Alono's tiny investigation suggested, the FOM confirmed Nando had grabbed the pole. Is there a more cinematic way of learning that? But it's not the first what the fuck moment we've experienced at the Hungarian ring. Let's take us back to 2021, and Hungarian Grand Prix is on. Who will be the first off the start? That's Norris, and Norris is for Steven.
Thing is, he gets knocked out of shape, kicked off with complete mayhem and loads of crashes, which resulted in a red flag. When it came to restarting the race, the rain had stopped and the track was much drier.
Right there at that uncomfortable spot where you don't know if you should hold in or come onto slicks. At least that was Hamilton's plan, because all the other ones already had it laid out. Everyone's gonna box up. A grid with just one car at this rate. It's gonna be lights out.
Off we go for Lewis Hamilton solo. The front runner is the only one who didn't go into the pit lane. Wow. And who was the one who finally got it right? Not Hamilton. He lost a bunch of positions, but you have to admit, one decision on the starting grid is quite neat, isn't it?
As crazy as it looks, that's not even the most bizarre beginning ever. That distinction is held by the 1999 European GP at the Nürburgring. 4, 5.
Out and the lights stay on and Fritzen jumped the start. So what in heck occurred? Why did not the lights go out and why did...
So it seems, way back in the 90s, the race director would press a button and send a signal to the start lights, and they'd stay lit for some amount of time and then go out. The issue was, teams figured out how to intercept the signal, so they understood exactly when the lights would get turned off. They play a beep in the driver's headphones right before, so they can nail the start every time. But in this race, Zanardi was out of position, so they aborted the start with lights still illuminated. The problem, the beep still activated, so several drivers departed anyway, though the race had not yet formally started. Then they had the lights stay on for some random amount of time, so teams could not really know when the race would start. Now it's all on the drivers to react when the lights finally go out. I'm not 100% sure if this is legit, but what the fuck? It makes so much sense, right? There's also this theory that the FIA purposely kept the lights on to catch teams cheating. Yep, the more I dig, the darker it gets. Please, FIA, we love you. Don't ban my channel for spilling these secrets. If that's a strange way to start, the strangest way to finish is the 2019 Italian GP qualifying. Honestly, I've never seen anything even close to what happened. It was towards the start of Q3 when Räikkönen crashed, and into the barriers comes Kimi Räikkönen on pole last year here at Monza. Räikkönen, in the Alpha and the Parabolica, has crashed off the track and into the barriers, and they've red flagged the session. Everyone returned to the pits, and by the time they started again, there was 6 minutes and 35 seconds remaining. The wild thing, they were all set to go in their cars, but nobody was leaving. Why? Well, with Monster's really long straights, the slipstream is everything, and they all wanted to follow behind someone. So, with 1 minute and 35 seconds to go, Hulk finally took off, and like a pack of hyenas, they all trailed behind him. The comedic moment, he didn't even get through the first chicane, trying to let someone through. But guess, no one was looking for that, leading to this odd sight. Well, someone's not going to arrive at the checkered flag on schedule and start their last lap and are all queuing here. None of them will arrive at the checkered flag at this pace. I don't think so. With all this daft malarkey, time was running out. 3, 2, and 1, and I don't believe they've broken through. Come on, lads. They've not broken through. And so, in the most daft manner possible, nobody actually set a lap. So, claimed pole, casually, with his first guess time. What a farce pole position. Anyway, lads, thanks for everything. Sorry for the mess in the last lap. That's when two marshals, no care for their lives, just walked on the main straight, and yep, a car came towards them. No fucking way. How the hell did Checo even avoid both of them? Man, something was wrong with those marshals. I did not kill him. They are fine. It was so close. That was as wild as what happened during one of the free practices in Brazil in 2002. Enrique Bernardi crashed into the barriers of the center S with the arrows destroyed. The medical car zoomed right across the track and stopped next to him. And in the meantime, the drivers were resisting. Heidfeld, for holy shit, he was having the lap of his life unfolding, not even thinking about braking. What the actual fuck? Not gonna lie, the crashed medical car door scene is murdering me. But my God, that might have gone so badly. What a miracle. Turns out Heidfeld didn't receive any yellow flags, which is why he was driving crazy. Sometimes the thrill is not just on track, but off track as well. If you want to know what I'm talking about, look at this video featuring fans like you and me. Well, a bit more crazier. And as always, thank you for watching.